to thrive or survive without corruption. Because let's just be honest. One of the things that, and even people need to understand, let's say ordinary Mwananchi is complaining, right? About like, okay, MPs are corrupt, but it comes down to us. And think about it this way, right?
Yeah.
In, let's say, Dubai, you cross the zebra walking, or you jaywalk, like when the lights are still nini, you just run on the road. The fines are hefty. Like even simple things like checking, like, like let's say we're seated here and your phone is down there. You walk outside the room. If I take your phone, that's illegal in Dubai.
Yeah.
That introduces like a fine of like X amount of money. They're just little simple things like bad parking, bad driving.
Yeah.
Also like this thing of like just taking pictures, social media pictures, you get an accident somewhere like Dubai. If you take out your phone and you start recording an accident scene.
Even public display of affection.
All those things.
Yeah, kissing someone in public.
They introduced fines. But as Kenyans, when people say we don't want corruption, are you ready for a cop to catch you red-handed with a traffic offense? Your expired license, expired driving license, or insurance, or maybe a faulty light, or you've been crossing the road badly. Are we ready to pay those fines if these things are imposed? Especially traditionally when we're used to corruption. Do people really want a corrupt-free country? Are people ready for that?
People are not ready for that.
They're not ready for that. People are saying like, yes, corrupt, but are you really ready for a cop to get you somewhere and then tell you like, you're going to jail and this is the fine?
People are not ready.
They're not ready.
People are given even notice in traffic to appear in court.
Yes.
They don't show up in court.
Actually, very true. Very true.
That's why I say Kenyans.
Warrants of arrest. How many people, first of all, would be in jail actually?
A lot of people.
A lot. And we're talking about ordinary Mwananchi.
Even simple traffic offenses.
Yes.
If we were to really follow the law, as you've said,
yes,
there would be millions of people in jail just because of traffic offenses alone.
Yeah, and even think about it, like even ordinary Mwananchi, and we're talking about just from those average salaries that we've done like a breakdown. This finance bill is already, let's say, yes, people, want to be corrupt-free and everything. All these things are introduced, maybe even different ways of just paying taxes. And then now you are actually sent to jail or like, you are in cell, but there's like a bill or whatever. How many people will be able to afford these fines?
A lot of people would not be able to afford
Exactly. Like somebody will be told like 50,000 or 3 months in jail. I can assure you the number of people who will have to serve those 3 months. Because even if they ask like family members to changa, it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem. Someone would say, just take me to jail.
Yeah.
In fact, you'd be giving me food while
there's food, there's accommodation, no caretaker is harassing you and everything.
I'm not paying taxes in jail.
I'm not paying taxes. So you can only imagine.
Yeah, that is the problem. It's true. So those are the devastating effects of the bill that is going to be passed.
Because if we really want to live like those countries like Dubai, where we are talking about like those fines are super imposed like in every simple thing that you do, for me personally, I would still choose a pinch of corruption because I've been raised around it, and that's just something that I'm used to. Like even now, a cop, like I've done a traffic offense, they come to me, it's like, listen, like the first thing that I normally do, and this is not
let's talk it out.
Let's just be real about it. It's like I'm always like, okay, sir, so tufanyaje? Yeah. Like what next?
How much? Give him the driver's license. Then
I have to, because like if I don't,
another license in between, and you tell him, please check it.
Please, afadhali. But it's because that's just something I'm used to. I'm not, and even like I think there's a time I was given I remember me negotiating with a cop, and he told me like, okay, so if I take you to the Nini, if we go to the station, and you have to face the magistrate, your fine is between 30 to 45. And I was like, this cop is exaggerating. It can't be between 30 and 40. And then it's like, but if I get 5, you just keep going on with your business. So I said like, okay, 5 is just too much by the honestly. I was going on with my business. Let's do 2. He said like, sawa. So which I parted ways with that. And trust me, when I came back home and I was just doing my Google, I was like, this guy may be exaggerated. I was like, this would have actually attracted a fine of between 40 to 100,000 Kenya shillings. And I was like, you know what, guys.
Leave alone even the fine.
Yeah.
The time that you'd be taking in court.
Time. If you've ever had to face me, like just that time.
That time.
Because they'll pick like maybe at 8, 9 a.m. During the daytime. When you're supposed to be doing like jobo. If it's school, you're supposed to be in school. And so many other different things, just personal responsibility.
You fail to come, they issue an arrest of warrant.
So imagine.
You are arrested.
So do you really want? And once you're arrested also, now they come arrest you, I'm sure the fine will be slightly higher. Is that something that you want? Me as a person, me personally as a Kenyan, listen, just give me that corruption I'm used to. I'm not the one who introduced it. I found it here.
Yeah.
So for now, not unless, and that's the crazy part about like, you know, even when we're talking about these things just in general, having conversations, you can't really snap a finger and make this change like right now.
Definitely.
It's going to take like years before like we come into a place where like just Kenya is like corrupt free. Systems are working. Because remember, even when you're paying taxes, are the systems that you're paying for actually working the way they're supposed to? Things like NHIF. Now you have like somebody who's in distress, you show up in hospital. Yeah. Trust me, you show up with that NHIF card, they throw it away.
Most private hospitals do not even take it nowadays.
Yeah, they'll refuse.
Yeah, they don't even want
And that's sad because this is like just one of like the basic compulsory things that are tax deductions.
So the way you've said it, now that is the point where now we have to talk about corruption. Leave alone you meeting a police officers on the road, because I always say this one thing is that Kenyans love convenience.
Yeah.
100%.
True.
If there's a better way of doing something, they would go for the better way. So they wouldn't want to go through the technical process itself.
Yeah.
If there's an easier way of getting out of it, such as the traffic offenses and all that, they would rather tip the police officers and get away with it. But it reaches a certain point whereby now we just have to talk about this corruption.
Yeah.
100%. Because if a governor can embezzle over 6 billion Kenya shillings meant for the people, you have to ask yourself a question. Is he really trying to get convenience? Is he really trying to get bread?
But here's the thing, and I'll also just like even just try and respond to that. There's no loyalty among thieves. If we opened that door for corruption, you will do 100 shillings, 100,000, 10,000. So when you hear somebody, it's like a thief complaining at that person stole more money than me.
Yeah.
How do you introduce that when you're also like involved in corruption?
Definitely.
You're still involved in like how many people be like, yo, mi sitoi hongo. I've never seen a video of somebody saying like, mi sitoi hongo, recording a cop. Yeah. It's always complaining about something else, because after that you'll still pay and go.
You would complain about the hongo,
of course,
being too much.
In fact, that's always the complaints. Like he wanted too much money.
He wanted too much money,
and allegedly, like even if we go back to like the Ian situation, I think there's a video that leaked when they had gone to like pick him up, and the cops now are just like, you know, roughing him up and asking him questions.
And he said that
hatukusikizana about the amount of the money. So the cop, mpaka, it's so wild because like he's telling the other cops like, yo, I had X amount of money hakuwa nataka. Can you imagine even that's even like a discussion? And even like I think the cop like was like, we nyamaza. Because it's like, yo, we don't even want to start having that discussion with you.
Yeah, but he made that statement and the cop was like, what are you talking about?
Nyamaza.
Tuchukui hongo.
But it's so funny because like now it still comes down to like such basic conversations. Yeah. We can't complain about a bigger thief stealing more amounts of money if you're still also involved a thief and involved in corruption. So I think it still comes down to us as Mwananchi. Like, are you sure, or are we sure that's something that we want, a corrupt free country? And if so, we have to understand like rules that are going to be put in place are not going to happen. Those changes won't happen now.
Yeah.
We're talking about things that are going to happen like over a decade probably, minimum. And it has to be introduced with kids who are being born like super young.
Yeah.
Because some of us, like, we're already done. Like me, if you tell me something that doesn't involve corruption, I'll be like, I don't even know what that is. And even think about business owners. For business owners, the ones who are surviving, I'm sure they have like just push an envelope somewhere on the side to some other big administrative positions for them not to be disturbed. And that's just the culture that we have in the country, unfortunately.
It's a culture, just the same way you've said it. It's now a culture.
Yep.
And just look, the way you've said it, a thief cannot call out another thief.
Yep.
Look at the administration in Kenya Kwanza government. They're even afraid to call out corruption.
They can't.
Because all of them are basically stealing.
Yeah, because if you call out someone and then somebody comes with receipts, and I think the best thing that we've had right now, like, and I think one of the best things that we have in the country is like we just have freedom of speech. That's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I don't think, especially for African countries, do you think anybody can wake up in Uganda and go on Twitter and call out the president?
It can't happen.
In Rwanda?
You were comparing Rwanda. Let me tell you
Tanzania?
something. We enjoy freedom of speech in Kenya
Yeah.
even more than the United States.
Yes.
You know why?
Yes.
Because the United States even censors its own people
Actually, true.
through the CIA and everything,
True.
which is not necessarily even happening in Kenya.
True.
In Kenya, you can go out to Twitter,
Yeah.
put out receipts about a corruption leader and everything. You won't even
And
be
tag
censored.
him. And tag him. And show your face without hiding. And show your face. You're like, Nani,
Yeah.
you stole X amount of
did
money.
this.
You did this and this and this. And you just go on, make your dinner, and
Definitely.
continue like nothing happened. And wake up tomorrow and call out another person.
We enjoy freedom of speech more than so many countries in the world.
Yep.
That is definitely right. And it's also a good platform.
Yeah.
Because now, at least it gives us an opportunity to talk about the critical things
Yeah, that's
in
true.
our country.
That's true.
As we have seen now, the finance bill. If we were so afraid about calling out certain MPs or legislatures, we wouldn't have been ranting right now in Twitter or any other social media platform.
Very
so
true.
it's a plus to Kenyans. And I hope there would be some change, especially on this freedom that we have to air out our views and all those things. So
I personally think, like I keep saying, it just starts with us. For me, culturally, I'm just doing what other Kenyans do. But I know we can do better because the only unfortunate part, if you're already ingrained in the culture, I just don't know how to do it any differently because then that's, it comes to when a lot of people always say like, hey, me, I want to go to like a country like, let's say, European countries, Germany, Poland, Amsterdam. I'm always trying to tell people because like, you know, I did my first Euro trip like last year, good time and everything. But if there's one thing that's really, really like just, you know, places with working systems and fines for everything. Listen, I don't think Kenyans can handle that. And even people who go outside, when they come back, they thrive so much because they're like, hey, now I can breathe. Hey, I can just bribe someone. Hey, I can just, like other countries out there, like, listen, things are very tough. And like when we're talking about like taxes, we complain about taxes. There are countries where people pay up to 50%.
in fact, there are countries in which
50% tax.
taxes are viewed, tax evasion or anything to do with crimes against what you're supposed to be giving out to the
Actually,
government.
don't you get jailed if you evade
That's
tax
what I'm
in
saying.
other countries?
They are treated as a capital offense.
True.
I don't know if people know. I've seen a lot of memes about the IRS of the United States. People don't really understand how the IRS works.
They will come to your doorstep and you will be... Think about like even big icons, people like Akina Wesley Snipes who are big movie stars.
Trump, who was right now just...
Trump!
He was
Trump.
convicted of tax
You
fraud.
go to hip-hop, Akina DMX. Those people like were actually... And it's just... Trump, it's just because he has like, you know, money, power, and everything,
Yeah.
and we know how that can also like just
Turn
control at different outcomes. But so many people go bankrupt in those countries, and they come out like scratch with nothing, go back to zero.
Yeah, because of the
IRS
system that
will-
is in place.
That system, if it's implemented, they don't play around at all.
They don't.
And they calculate back to when, like you said, from when he was 18. Okay, now you're 45.
The IRS
Everything.
would spend 10 years investigating you for your
Investigating.
financial frauds.
Very,
and they
very
would
true.
never talk to you. But
Yeah.
on a certain day, they come to you, they tell you, this is your penalties.
Yes.
This is what you're going to do. You're going to forfeit this and these items.
Yes.
Let's now go to court.
Yes.
That is just how strict the system is. That's the reason why Andrew Tate was
Yeah.
saying that he prefers being in Romania than being in the United States, because there is a bit of corruption that is accessible to most people. You know, the corruption in the United States is not accessible to all
Nope.
citizens.
It's for those top tier people.
Elite.
Elite. Because like we see like even with their, and that's why I keep telling people like as much as we always saying like, Kenya is corrupt. Listen, when you go to those countries, when we're talking about their corruption, we're not talking about small amounts of money. But they do have corruption, because we have like what's her name? Nancy Pelosi, how
Yeah,
they
Nancy-
can even manipulate like stocks.
Yeah, Nancy
they,
Pelosi.
They pass a bill today, and this person has already bought like crazy amounts of stocks, and then they skyrocket. Someone's salary is like $200,000, but you see their net worth amounts to more than 30 or 20 to 30 million dollars. But you now sit down and break it down. This is just like corrupt, but just for the elite people. It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
So anyone else in between here, if you try,
Yeah.
you serve time.
100%.
Jail immediately.
Just like I've said, Nancy Pelosi and all those congressmen in the United States.
Yeah.
Basically, what they're doing is entirely just corruption.
It's still
in
there.
some sense. Because there are certain institutions that lobby for them.
Of course.
And if you're helped in terms of donation for your election,
There
you
you go.
have to serve the interest of
There
the
you
people who
go.
elected you.
And we hear the amounts they get for their donations.
Yeah.
It's not little amounts of money. It's crazy amounts.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
The
Yeah.
normal citizen in America cannot access this. You cannot know that a certain company is supposed to be given a contract by the government for you to invest. It's not accessible.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a country like Kenya,
Yeah.
the corruption is very accessible. As long as you have money.
You're there. You're good.
As long as you have money, you can pay a certain agency and get a job.
That's true. That's true.
In America, you can't tip the police.
You can't. No, you can't.
You can't. But
In
if you're-
Europe,
but
tricky.
if you're Bill Gates and you're driving
Come on.
through a certain road, you know, the cop would be like,
Yeah.
you know, I really don't have to do this. And even if he did, and Bill Gates makes just one call to,
Yeah, that's something
certain person-
It's done.
it wouldn't even be in the records.
And I think the perfect person who's shown this, it's like, you know, someone like Trump. Trump is like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Him is like about his business, and he will bulldoze his way out of anything, and he will just tell you like, yeah, this is what I'm doing and how I'll do it. But it's because of money and power. But you also have to understand, like even like let's just say for